people, time for another vlog. Sorry for the noise. I've been out here doing some maintenance on my air compressors. In fact, excuse the noise a sec. We'll turn that off. My air compressor, my new air compressor, there, crapped out on me. The motor finally gave up on it. It wasn't a oil motor, it was one of the electric motors on there. Lasted me about 2 years, 3 years, which is about typical. So I went down and I bought a brand new one yesterday, which is what's there. But in the process, I got to thinking, I save my tanks. As the air compressor wears out, I save the tanks and use them for storage capacity. Well, since I bought the new compressor yesterday, I went and took the old one, got the motor and stuff off of it, and needed some fittings, you know, to secure it and what have you. This one, which was an old one, the motor hadn't worked in years, was the same way. I went and took the motor and stuff off of it, and I went down, bought a new fitting, plugged it, so it's worked. And then I was having problems with the regulator on here, and I got to thinking, I don't need a regulator on here, so I went and just hooked this directly up. There's no way of adjusting the air on this tank. But this one feeds into the other tanks, and all the other tanks have regulators on them, so I can adjust airflow. And I got to thinking I wanted to test it, so I've got them all hooked up in series, and I'm using this one to charge all the tanks. I know that one works, but this one here, I wanted to make sure it was working all right to see if I needed any other work or anything on it. So that's what I've been doing with that, hence why it was on. And it looks like I clicked it off just as it got done filling. So it's done. I'm going to let them set to make sure they hold power. So, or not hold power, but hold their air charge. But anyway, we'll turn that off and let it sit, and I'll check it back later. I don't hear any hissing, so I'm assuming everything is working fine. But we got that done. I just finished that up this morning. I started last night and finished it this morning. I had to go get fittings. Now that project's done and my air supply is secure, it's time to get started on our next project, which is going to be replacing the hammering clown prop. This here. Now with this one, we're getting rid of it finally. Last year, this plate broke loose, and I have it held on with some C-clamps. I was just going to come in and re-weld it, and then we'll reuse it again this year. And Savannah and I were talking, let's just get rid of it. And we'll do a new prop. And I figured, well, I'll use the same shaft, or the same cylinder on it, and use this to do what I'm going to do. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to attempt to make a traditional jack-in-the-box. Actually, a series of 3 boxes, and the top, the lid will be attached in some way to the pneumatic cylinder, which will have a head on it that will pop up and then pop down. And that's going to replace that. But I'm going to keep the barrel from the hammering clown. If you remember right, that barrel had a head floating in it, and the hammer came down, hit the head. And when it hit the head, water geysered up. Well, I'm going to put the head in there, still in that barrel, and we're going to use the water blaster in there to shoot the water up. So that will be part of this prop. But I'm adding one twist to it. I'm also going to put an air blaster in, like what we have in our mausoleum. That way, that will give us 2 air blasters in the haunt, and the clown and the graveyard are never together. They're usually on either side of the haunt, so I'll be able to get people a couple of times. I hope. That's what I want to do. But anyway, it's going to be, like I said, a set of 3 boxes with the top one with the head popping out of it. The thing is, before I could do the boxes or anything, I've got to get the mechanics all put together and then build the boxes to fit the mechanic. Anyway, I got to start getting the metal out. I got to figure out what I want for my base, and I got to do the math. Then I've got to get the pneumatic cylinder on it, and I got to test it, make sure it's going to work. It's going to be a couple of day project just to get that portion done. Then we'll start doing the decorative stuff, which is the boxes. But another thing I wanted to go over is when I bought the new air compressor yesterday, I got down at Home Depot. I got me a new soldering mask. My old one, which is hanging up over there, I've used it quite a bit. It still works. The only problem I've ever had with it is when I'm actually welding, the mask allows me to see the flame, I guess you call it, from the welding, where the solder is being applied to the metal. You get a little blue flame. Problem is, it didn't do enough so I can actually see what I'm working on. It just allowed me to see the flame without burning my eyes. I needed a better mask, so I went down, spent a little bit more money, bought this one, and had a nice surprise when I got home. Went to open it up, got to looking at the box. It came with some other things. I got some welding sleeves, which I haven't tried yet. Got a couple of more magnets. I can always use those. Got a wire brush and what I call a pick hammer, and I know that's not the proper name for it. A grease pencil for marking lines. A welder's cap. And a new pair of gloves, which I did desperately need. So that all came with the welding helmet. And it's like, okay, well, we'll give it a try. See how it does. They had, this one, I think was like $120. They had another one that was almost $200 and didn't have anything with it. I have a feeling the $200 helmet was probably going to be better than this one. I'm going to give this one a try. And if it's no better than what I got already with the old one, I'll go down by the... Welcome to another day. Yesterday started the project. We got that done. That is the base for the mech. And I did a couple of diagonals up there to help strengthen this pipe up and get it sitting somewhat square. And we got this cut. And this piece here fits in there like that. So we got that done. Now I need to get some more of this big tubing. I have some here. I'll cut down my right size. That will slide down up and down on this pipe. It will hold the head, which is there. That's the old head from the Hammering Clown. We're going to repurpose it and put it in on the Jack in the Box. And then I have to make a platform on top of it to hold the lid for the box. And we've got to do that. But I ran into a problem. That mask from the bottom of the mouth to the top of the head is about 10 inches. So if the top of the box is going to be sitting here at the top of the pipe, the head has to rise 10 inches, make it 11 inches minimum, to clear the top of the box. Now what I had planned on doing was I was going to repurpose this cylinder, and it's not going to work. This cylinder, once it's all the way extended from here up to about here, is only 7 inches. I can't get any more play. So if I use that cylinder, when the head comes up, it's only going to come up 7 inches, which means the bottom part of the mask on the head, the last 3 inches of it, is going to be inside the box. And I want that mask to clear the top of the box. So I got to thinking, this is the mech for our jumping snake, which is in need of severe repair, and we can't use it. But I was thinking, this might have a long enough shaft, this metal part, from that fitting down to the top of the cylinder. And I measured it, it's 7 inches. So that won't work, so I can go get this put away. So what I am going to have to do is order a new cylinder. Thing is, even if I order it today, it won't be here until sometime next week, if I'm lucky. So what I can do is get what I'm calling the shuttle. And that's the part that will hold the head and, you know, slides up and down here on the mast. I can get that made and that all dialed in, but I can't do all the welding on it because I need to figure out the cylinder. And, you know, so the base of the cylinder is going to get welded to the square pipe here. And until I know the length of the cylinder, there's not much I can do. But, you know, I can at least get the shuttle put together. And then it'd just be welding a tab onto the pipe for the base of the cylinder. So we'll get that point. Now, if I don't have the cylinder till late next week, what I think I am going to go ahead and do is once I get as far as I can on that, I'll set it off to the side, clean up my mess in here, and we'll start doing the boxes that go around this whole thing. I can start on that because that's going to take a week or two to do. There's going to be a wood frame with plywood, then foam, which is going to need to be carved, going to be needing painting and all. And when the new cylinder comes in, I can stop that, hop back over to this, get the new cylinder on, and get it wired and what have you. So we're going to keep going one way or the other. But for right now, I'm going to see if I can get that shuttle put together or designed as much as I can. Well, I'm about as far as I can go for this week on the mech. Got the base, got the mast, and we've got the shuttle. Or I guess you call it a shuttle. This flat plate up here is where a piece of plywood and foamer is going to go for the top of the box, so the taller people can't see in and know what's coming. I still have 2 more things to weld on, and I need to weld a piece on to the shuttle that sticks out, and another one onto this point that sticks out for the cylinder to go on. But as I explained earlier, the 2 cylinders I've got are too short. I'm going to have to order a cylinder. I'll do that on Monday. Hopefully I'll have it by the end of the week. I can come in and do that and, you know, have this done, or this portion of it done. Now, as far as the shuttle, this is in the down position. The head would be inside the box if I had the box up, you know, put together. Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. And that's the extended version. It's about 7 foot altogether when it's fully extended. Now, I went and marked a line on the pipe there. That's where the bottom of the shuttle sits when it's all the way down. So I need to get a cylinder that goes from here up to here to raise it that distance. And it's just a piece of square tubing, a little bit bigger than what I use for the mast, so it slides down and over it, and that piston's just going to be pushing it up and down is all it's going to do. Now, this is part 1 of the prop. There, I took the head off. And that's what I used there, just a piece of square tubing that fits into a foam head. But this is the first part of the prop. The second part is, if you remember right, the old Hammer and Clown had a barrel with a head on it. We're going to reuse that in this on this prop because it holds the water blaster. So when this thing fires, head goes up, and as it starts coming down, I'll have it adjusted to come down semi-slowly, or not as quick as it goes up. The barrel, which will be sitting about here, will fire off the water blaster. And then after that, if I can get it to work right, I'm going to do an air blaster and mount it to one of the boxes on the inside, so it will fire off too. So there'll be 3 different effects: the head, the water, and the air on this prop. But right now we've been working mainly on the head, and like I said, until I get the new cylinder we're at a standstill on this. So I think tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this pushed off into a corner. Okay, I got the camera turned wonky, but that's what I've gotten done today. Other than getting the shop cleaned up, which took a while. But we got the frames together. Now hold it. Don't want you getting seasick. I'm flipping the camera. Bottom box is 3 feet 3 inches long by 2 foot wide. The middle box is 2 foot by 2 foot. And the top box is 2 foot by 15 inches this way. I am going to probably end up redoing this top box. The sides are fine, but I need to lengthen these by about 3 inches. Right now the mask is rubbing on the sides over here, so I'm going to need to fix that. And we'll do that. Another thing I'll be doing too later on in the process is I'm going to drill some holes down here at the base so I can slip a zip tie through. So I can zip tie the boxes to the frame. And then each set of boxes I'll be attaching with a screw through as well to anchor all the boxes together. That way if the whole thing, if the mechanism starts wobbling or anything, the boxes will wobble with it. I want them tied together. And if zip ties aren't strong enough, I'll use plumber's tape. But I think tomorrow we are going to get out here and I'm going to add 3 inches, make this about 3 inches wider. So the head clears a little bit better. One thing I did notice is I had this, since it's all the boxes are 2 foot wide, I had this lined up flush. And when I did, the nose on the mask as well as the sides was hitting up here, and after a couple times going up and down, the mask wanted to come off. So I ended up having to pull this box forward a little bit so the nose would clear, which is alright by me. But the horns here on the mask are still hitting, so I'm going to have some fun with that.